Good morning, everyone. It's Buck Nasty. I want to touch base on my moose hunt. I realized that I never touched base after my moose hunt. I did a bunch of videos testing with my 30-06, my 300, and my 375, working up loads, factory ammunition, trying to find the perfect, round for the rifles. Trying to see which one I was going to go. I was going to take the 375, and, well, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you about my moose hunt and where I went. I went here. Tuckamore Lodge is where I went. I'll talk about that in a separate video, too. But 5-star lodge, 5-star everything. Great people. I literally can't say enough good things about them. But I'm going to talk about my moose hunt and everything. Sorry, I'm getting over chest cold. So a lot of you may know that I was working up the 375, sighting that in to get it ready for the moose hunt. A week before, I was at the range doing some testing, firing a few rounds, and I had went to fire the gun, and I had noticed that my group had gotten bigger. Well, I thought maybe I just pulled my shot, so I waited a little bit, shot some more, and group was still big. Waited a little bit, shot some more, and I'm like, well, maybe it's me. Next day, come back, or day later, go and fired again, and the group was still big. So I'd come to the conclusion that something was wrong with the scope because my group kept getting bigger, and no matter what I did, it kept staying about 2 inches, 3 inches, no matter what I did. So now here I am a week away from my moose hunt, and I'm about to start freaking out. What am I going to do? So I went online. I checked my ammunition, which I normally shoot a 300 grain, 180. I'm sorry. Yeah, I shoot a 180 grain Norma Bond Strike out of my 300 Win Mag, and check that out. What I see with a ballistic gel block, it should work pretty good. Granted, it's no substitute for the real deal, but I thought, well, I'm going to give it a shot. So I did. I used it right here. Don't mind the workbench. There it is. Norma Bond Strike, 180 grain. Worked absolutely wonderful on my moose hunt. Now, I only made maybe a 85-yard shot, 75-yard shot through this thick stuff, and I mean god-awful thickness. If any of you people have ever hunted Newfoundland, you can probably relate to some of the thick, nasty country. And walking on those bogs, I learned firsthand that is something. But, so I grabbed the 300. I knew it was dialed in, threw that in, did the paperwork for Canada, and away we went up to the moose hunt. Up to flew into St. Anthony, and went to that place right there. Can't talk. I'm getting over a wicked chest cold. I apologize, but everything was 5-star. The lodge, the beds were comfortable, the food, the people, everything was 5-star. And my guide, Brad, absolute awesome guy. I don't think I could have gotten paired with a better guy. We just hit it off. But we went moose hunting. Had a long 2-hour drive into what I can only explain to you as some of the thickest, nastiest country that I've ever been into. Also, let me back up. When I got off the airplane, you could have told me I was in Alaska, and I would have believed you. Just absolutely beautiful. Everything smelled of pine trees. The water was crystal clear there. It just, if you've never been on a moose hunt to Newfoundland, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's the closest thing to Alaska I'll ever get to. But I mean, I would trade deer hunting in for moose hunting. It's just the quality of meat moose meat compared to deer meat. I mean, it's night and day difference. When you hear people say it's the beef of Alaska, I believe it, folks. Take it from me. I've given some of the meat out to friends and family, and they can't tell the difference. You know, there's no gaminess. It's great. It's like black Angus beef. Can't beat it. Oh, sorry, folks. But anyway, so me and my guide, we took about a 2-hour drive into some thick, nasty country, and I got first-hand experience walking on the bogs. And we the morning started out kind of slow. Wasn't seeing too much, hearing too much. We walked for probably a good hour and a half, and we could hear a cow off in distance in the section of woods about 200 yards away from us. So we set up shop, and my guide Brad, he tried to call the moose out to us, and he's calling, and we didn't hear nothing from her. We heard another bull, or we heard a bull moose. He's like, there's a bull. He's scraping and calling, and nothing never came out of the woods. But we could see some movement in the trees and some rustling, and he's like, oh, they're in there. So we went and made a big kind of loop around the woods, and we started walking into some thick timber and everything, and we bumped into a bull moose. Well, my moose. He's like, moose, bull, get out. He sat right down on the ground. I chamber around into the gun, and he's like, I see 4 points on one side, and he says he's at least an 8, and he says it's up to you. It's your call. And I'm thinking to myself, well, we're looking at a gifted horse in the mouth, and it was so thick, and all I could see is just the horns. And I worked my way down, and I'm like, okay, there's the body, and it was probably about 75, 80 yards in this thick nastiness stuff. And I had made the decision that I was going to take this moose. I could hear a little voice in the back of my head and screaming, show it up. Sorry. And I did. I let him have it. I fired, and my guy says, I think you missed him. Shoot him again. Boom. And, old buck fever starts setting in. He started shaking, once in a lifetime hunt. And he says, oh, I think you got him. He says he turned and he acted funny. He says, how do you feel? I said, I felt really good, and so we got up and we started walking, and I see this thing moving up and down. He's like, hey, you see that? He says, what? I said, I see something flopping in the air. He says, I don't see it. So move. I said, I just saw it again. And he says, I don't see what you're seeing. I said, well, since I got the gun, why don't I get in front of you and I'm going to walk toward that movement. So I get in front of him and start walking, and he gets on the binoculars, and we probably walked at, like I said, it was a 80-yard shot to where the moose was, and then we probably walked another, at least, I don't know, 80 yards or so ahead, maybe more. It started to get a little open, and I got in front of him, and he gets on the binoculars. He says, "Oh, I see." He says, "I see your moose." I say, "You see him?" He says, "Yeah, I see him." So I start, getting up there, and he was down. He went down right there, and then the work started. But yeah, I got my moose. He's not big. He's not a real big moose, but he's my moose, and I'm proud to say that I got a moose. I'm hoping I don't have the antlers. The antlers are at the taxidermist. I'm having a European mount done. When I get them in, I will be sure to I'll do a video and show you guys on the wall, and I'm going to talk about the lodge and where I went and the people and everything. But yes, I did. I got my moose, and the moose meat, some of the best meat there has ever been. And you all might be wondering what the hell's behind me, so hang on. The old workbench, the old reloader workbench. Reloading manuals, Nosler book, a couple of paintings and stuff, and the old tin hunting ads. I love those things. Been reloading some 338 bullets, but yeah, that's the round that took the moose. 300 Win Mag, 180 grain normal bond strike. I recommend it. If it works for me firsthand, I recommend it. I really do, folks. Another thing, the 300 Win Mag was probably the most popular thing in the camp. One old timer had a 300 short, worked great. I think he used I think he was shooting normal ammo too, actually. And yeah, he shot his with a 300 short mag, 180 grain bond strike too. One guy used a 338 Win Mag. His moose caught the bullet too. He shot a nice moose, about 28 inches. Nothing too big, but he shot a moose. 338 Win Mag. His moose caught the bullet. A lot of other people had 300 Win Mags. One guy, we had a couple of guys from Pennsylvania with Remington 700s and 270. I don't know why every friend of mine from Pensie's got to have a Remington 700 and 270. Except for my one buddy, he's got a 30-06 or a 300 Win Mag. But most of the old timers all have 270s, and the old timers that were at the camp, they all had 270s. One guy did get one. The other guy, unfortunately, when he pulled up on the moose, he forgot to chamber the round. I got another friend that does that too from time to time. I gotta send him a text opening morning. Don't forget to chamber the gun, Larry. But yeah. One guy I think had a 28 Nosler. That was a cool one. Brownings too. Most of the guys all had the Pensies all had Remington 700s. The old timer had a Tikka T3. The guy with the 338 had a Ruger guide gun, and everybody else had Brownie X bolts, believe it or not. And most of them were all in 300 Win Mag like mine. I had the nicest one. I have the Browning Medallion. Everybody else had like the Hell's Canyon or the something like that. But the one guy, which I'm not impressed with this thing at all, had a 6.8 Westerner. And I know the 6.8 Westerner is basically a 270 short mag, just longer bullets. But I was not impressed at all with what it did to his moose. We're talking little itty bitty, like pencil hole bullets, or going in and coming out, and his moose actually suffered. I don't know what kind of bullets Winchester is making for that particular cartridge, but I was looking at, I might be able to bring one up at some point and show you guys. I took pictures of the bullet, where it went in and where it went through the one side, and it just didn't hold together for shit. Pardon my language. It went to hell, and kind of like blew up a little bit, it looked like, and the moose was suffering, I guess. The guy said they had to walk up to it and finish it off, and yeah. When I heard that story, and I'm like, plus it's a little cartridge, and I'm like, people in your goofy stuff. So I was not a fan with the 6.8 Westerner at all. I know I'll get some hate mail on that one, and the guys with the 270 short mags, and I got a buddy with one, and he knows I don't care for it either. If you're gonna get a short mag, get a 300 short mag. That's I even said that to the guy at the moose camp, and he didn't talk to me after that. I don't care. I ain't ever gonna see the guy again. But yeah. All right, y'all have listened to me rant and rave enough, I guess. Yeah, I will talk about where I went in another video, but I got my moose, and please, and I can't stress this enough, folks. Please, 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 use enough gun. You owe it to the animal you are hunting to be ethical. That means use enough gun, use proper bullets. Don't go out there with the Walmart special on your elk and moose hunt. I mean, I understand prices and everything is going sky high, but you owe it to that animal to, do your best to give it the best, quickest, and, death. All right. This is Buck Nasty signing off, and look forward to your hate mail.